All right, everybody, welcome everybody. I'm coming to get to the spot. Hey, all right. See, I'm rocking the ASU hat. Great win. It's Monday, but it's just on Saturday. Arizona State beat Michigan State. My cousin and his ex-wife's alma mater, Michigan State. Great win. Herm Edwards, 2-0. Got the state and the city all hyped up. Just a good start. So keep it up, Herm. All right, we are on chapter 10. We're going to do a quick weigh-in. I'm at 247, working my way down. I'm hanging in the 40s, and so get back on my grind. Get down into the 30s, and that's where I've really made some strides last time. All right, so we are at chapter 10. Chapter 10 is very powerful because I let you in a little bit and give you some background about my father, because as I've shared throughout the book and you've heard videos and different things, is that my father and I never had a great relationship. I spent some time trying to reconnect, just didn't work out. So I've just come to the understanding that he is who he is. I love him from who he is, what he gave to me, and I share that in this particular chapter as I tell a little bit of his story and our connection. So it's very important because I go through his bio. You find out that we really don't have a relationship, and you see how I was trying to make some connections as I was growing up. But just some quick things to know about my father, as far as he's from the South. Ended up going into the military, but before that, he was subjected to a very racist system, sharecropping, and just living in the South. That just was not. I mean, of all the places to live in the United States, to live in the South was probably the most really soul crushing. But there were some things that came out of that. My dad is one of 15 or 16 kids. Hold on a second. I always tend to forget to turn off the refrigerator in here or the air conditioning. So you always hear that sound in the background. So in a minute, the air conditioning is going to shut off. I shut off the refrigerator here in the office. Come on, let's get back in focus. Let's get back. Come on, camera. Come on. Why are you not focusing? Lord, come on. There you go. Get with the program. All right. So my dad grew up in this very unique set of circumstances in the South, but what he was able to create with him was a very strong work ethic, where he really couldn't take any days off. There was no complaining. So when my dad joined the military, and then through his years in the military, and then eventually when he got out and started working at Ford Motor Company, he carried that with him. I watched this very clockwork-like schedule my dad had that he brought with him. And also at the same time, you had this kind of black and white America. And I always think it's funny that, my dad grew up and I was born actually before all the voting rights passed. So I was technically born in a segregated society where there was black water fountains, white water fountains. So it was real interesting to think back on that. But again, my dad instituted this very powerful work ethic that a lot of things that I passed on, like the story, the video in that I did earlier, and the story in the book that I called "Imagine This." If you remember that video where I broke it down, I said, just imagine if you went to work and there was somebody at your job that you clearly could see was there if you were not up to par. And I said, people that work in corporate jobs don't understand that. I said, but that's what happens to an athlete every single day. You're challenged every single day by your backup, And so people don't understand that. Just imagine how you would approach your job. Would you be scared or would you be up for the challenge? All right. And so because of that work ethic, as my dad was sharing with me his story, on how when he went to work, he felt an obligation to give his best effort because there were people standing outside his job at the Ford Motor Company. That's why I put that up here today. That he felt an obligation. He said, look, these guys would work my same job for half the pay. He said, so I'm going to go in there and bust my ass and give a hard work. That I owe them respect and appreciation, to the people who hired me. And I owe respect that, hey, I'm going to go in there and put a hard work. You can't be looking at me and say, oh, man, that dude was probably half-assing it. Nope. All right. So that created the scenario that I gave you. Imagine this. But it also helped create a philosophy that I carry now. Is that days when I don't feel like getting up and going and doing what I need to do, my dad had that same feeling, but he went to work anyway. So I said, you have to have a philosophy that's higher than your feelings. Because your feelings are sometimes not going to feel their best. So what do? You just not do anything? No. You said, well, I got to go anyway, regardless whether my toe hurts or my side hurts. I mean, if I don't have something life-threatening, get to work. If I don't have something contagious that other people can catch, go to work. Do your job. All right? So the bio is important. And that's why I wanted to share that with you, because you get a chance to see or read or hear, what really impacted my father. And those were the things that impacted me. Now, where that actually became relevant was when I was in college and I was taking this sociology class, which was called social theory. And what we did was we studied all the greats and their background. And I used to think, why do I need to know about their childhood? Just give me what they write about and we'll talk about it. And the professor was like, no, if you know how they were raised or how the impacts in the world that really impacted the times, what era they grew up in, then you'll understand why they wrote about it or why they wrote the way that they wrote. So it makes sense that I looked at, like, this book gives you an idea of why the things that I do. Come on, get focused. Why are you out of focus? Hello? Come on, man. But if you read my book, then you know the story and you kind of know my journey, and so then you know why I'm able to write about these 3 points. What do you want? Why do you want it? And can you see it? How did I come up with that philosophy? Because I went through a bunch of stuff that said that when I utilized those 3 questions, I was successful. When I did not, I was not successful. See how that works? You know my story. Then you say, okay, what impacted? All right. So the bio becomes very important. You know about my dad, so then you know about me. And because I know how my dad endured, then it's very easy to look at what DNA was passed on to me that allowed me to endure. Because when I got out of prison, I really didn't know. I was like asking myself, like, how did you get through that? How did you have the mindset? How did you overcome this? And I go, I didn't know. But the more that when I started writing the book and then I was able to tap into my dad's story, then I said, I see where I got that from my mom, my mother and father. Now, what's interesting about that is that as I learned all that, as I came to this understanding, is that I wish my father had shared that information with me sooner. There's still a lot of things I don't know about him, but I wish he would have really shared his story. So then I would have known I come from this very focused, perseverance, high pain tolerance type of individual. I learned that on my own. And then I was like, where did it come from? It came from my dad. All right. But the other thing is, I wish he was there because there's some inconsistencies in my life. There's some inconsistencies as far as how I approached my professional baseball career when I had some challenging times. I didn't have that mentor or that father to talk to. So I was making these decisions on the fly and on my own. And I looked back at him and I said, had I had some a wise ear or just somebody that I really trusted and could have leaned on, I think it would have made a big difference in my life. So one of the other things that I learned from that is that when you do have that mentor, that person, and that's why I'm making this connection, is that I know about my father, but there was something missing. But if I had that mentor, one of the things that you see with people who have somebody that maybe help guiding them, or they get this understanding early, is they really understand time and place. They know where they are, and they know in proximity to, like, the universe, where they are in this moment. And they make these very mature decisions. They speak more maturely. And that's what I know that I'm able to give to my kids. And I know, or I know I would have been better had my father been more involved in that process. So I'm not blaming him. I'm just wishing that I wish I had him more. Okay, come on. There you go. Get yourself back in focus. All right. So there's two quotes that remind me. First of all, the first one is my father. This man was ready. If there's one thing about my father that I do know, he had a very strong work ethic. So a quote from Whitney Young comes into play. It says, because, when my dad got that job, July 19th, 1965 was when he started at 4. So my dad was ready. He took advantage of that 41 years, and he would have still been working. My dad would probably still be working today if they had not given him that buyout. They kind of forced him out because of the whole banking debacle back in, banking meltdown. Whitney Young says, it is better to be prepared and never get the opportunity than to get the opportunity and not be prepared. Pretty simple. You would be living in regret if you got a chance and you messed off the opportunity. Now, a quote that actually speaks to that same point, but articulated a little bit better, and it was by Winston Churchill, and he says, to each there comes in their lifetime a special moment when they are figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered the chance to do a very special thing, unique to them and fitted to their talents. What a tragedy if that moment finds them unprepared or unqualified for that which could have been their finest hour. I love that. And I look at my father and I go, he may have missed some moments with myself, with my other siblings, but as far as just getting out of the South, okay, come on, get back in focus. Yeah. As far as getting out of the South and just grasping the opportunity, getting into the military and getting out of the military and getting into Ford and just being able to provide for his family, my dad snatched it. He did not that opportunity came and he was ready for it and he took it. So that's what I'm trying to do with my life and trying to spread that out to my son and daughter, is that opportunities. And I told a little story in the past about my daughter grabbing those opportunities. They're not just presented to everybody. So when they're presented in your face, snatch it, take it, and run with it. All right. This is Plan Your Greatness, and I'm going to say this again. Plan your greatness. Why? Because no one else will. See you next time. Go Devils.